I never knew how long-term of an investment this thing would be, but it just got better. If you're like me in this industry, you've collected quite a few things over the years, or maybe you're just starting out. Now, when I first started out on a more professional level, I saved up a good chunk of money and got this, the Apollo Twin USB. And I just recently learned that it can do something really cool. I'm not sure whether or not this came in an update with console at some point, but one of the main reasons that I upgraded to the X8P was to be able to run external gear. And now, this can run some external gear or pedals. And in my case, my Chroma console. When I first heard about it, I was like, no way. And it was mostly the guys using the Apollo Twin X series, but I haven't seen anyone do this with the USB, so I decided I want to try it. Let's get into some of the technical stuff here and I'll show you how I'm going to make this work. Okay, so in front of me I have the Apollo Twin and the Chroma console. And what's cool about the Chroma console is that it has inputs and outputs, right? Two of them, left and right. So it's a stereo image. Now in the Apollo, there are 2 line outs and there are 1 mic in and 2 mic ins. And there's also a high Z on this side for guitars and instruments, and then this side is a headphone jack. But this takes the TRS or TS, whatever you want to call them. It takes these little guitar cords, right? So what I do is I take the line out, I plug it in. I'm gonna switch these around here so it's a little bit easier to see. There we go. So I take the inputs from the Chroma console, put them from line out to the inputs there, and take the inputs from the Chroma console and run them to the mic lines to the Apollo. And you can do this with mono or stereo in this case, but for vocals and things like that, like the 6176 behind me, it's all mono. Unless you had 2 of them, then it would be stereo. So technically you can even do something like that if you had one of these kind of cables. If you had a cable like this that had a mic side and a TRS, TS sleeve, whatever, on the other side, that'd be even better. Then you can use microphones and cool stuff like that. Or gear that has XLR inputs or outputs. Cool. The only thing we have left to do now is to fire this thing up and run some cool sounds through it, make something neat, and then, hey, let's see if this thing proves its worth. All right, so now you can see everything I can see, and let's go ahead and take a look at console. I'm going to show you how I set this up. So we'll go to Q outputs, and we'll look at line 3 and 4, and usually it's on a mix. That's what's going to make it squeal. If you don't turn that off, that's going to just go squee, and you don't want to listen to that. And I'm going to show you my hardware settings. They're nothing really special. The ins and outs, you don't really get a choice for that, but yeah, we're just working with 128 buffer size. Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. And make sure these channels are muted, or else you're just going to hear stuff in kind of a weird Haas effect. You don't want that. I did bring up the volume just a smidge, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over to FL Studio. There we are. And now I have everything hooked up perfectly. Okay. So let's go ahead and listen to the drums first. They're very simple, almost stock drums. They're not going to be really special drums. It's not going to be a huge overdone production. It's going to be nice and simple. Let's go ahead and listen to some. Okay, let's turn the Chroma console on. See, that's cool. Okay, awesome. So you see that works. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of some synthesizer in here. Again, nothing special with the beat turnover. Okay, see, it kind of adds a little bit of flavor to the track. Kind of a nice way to use it, sort of as like a plug-in. And let's go ahead and move these drums away from there, and we'll just have them all by themselves. I'm only going to put them on the same track because I don't really care. It's not a project I'm going to keep. So let's go ahead and put this. I really enjoy that. That's cool. One thing that I actually did forget to mention is that you can't run the high Z, the instrument plugin. You can't run that and channel 1 at the same time. It has to be one or both. So don't do that. But one of the things that I do like to do is add plugins on here for the unison. Some people say you don't have to, but I do the unison sometimes, just depending on what I'm doing. Let's just go ahead and throw unison on there. Let's do something simple. Let's put in a 1073. We'll put in 2 1073s. Let's max this baby out. Okay, so we're gonna put the drums back on here. Let's see what it does. So you know, it got real quiet. So let's just say we want to make some cool adjustments, right? We'll turn on our EQ for both of them. Kind of confusing. There we go. We'll move it so you can hear it better. Give it a little bit more thump. And then how about some overall volume? Okay. So now if we listen to them off, versus on, sounds good. It's kind of a cool effect. Oh wait, no, I think I recognize this. I don't think I could even use this. It drives me crazy. All right, let's listen to the Chroma console without the EQs here. Wow, it actually adds a lot. I think it adds quite a bit. Not bad. See? And that's why I like unison stuff too. So, well, I'll tell you what, this is kind of cool, man. I never thought that I would ever see this Apollo doing what I usually do with the X8P. Really cool stuff. So if I were to talk to my younger self or to somebody that was in my position and maybe in your position, I would say, is it worth getting this now? Absolutely. Is it worth using this as like a external plugin? Absolutely. Would you buy it again? I don't think this thing did that back when I got it. I think it was 2015, something like that. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. If I were you, now, and this is the cool part, is that you can take this and plug preamps into it. You could plug in preamps, you can plug in compressors, you can make your own channel strip, and then run it out and back in, and you've got a really cool setup. So you don't need a whole lot to make this thing work, especially if you're not going to be in the production side of things. But now that I'm more in the production side of things, this is what I sort of do. And so that recommendation of like, you know, is this something that you would use in the future? I think this would get you by for a long time, a lot of years. You'd be able to use this as effects. You can put preamps on it, the whole 9 yards. So I would absolutely say, yeah, I think it's probably worth it, especially if you're just starting out and you're learning this stuff. Just like anybody should be. If you stop learning, you stop growing. That is the key to arrogance to me. So, well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to call this the end of the video, and well, see you next time we do some kind of weird, cool experiment in here. So I'm going to take all this stuff apart and get back to work. All right, take care.